If we're investing in 100 leads a day and they're $5 a piece, dude, that's a lot. That's $500 a day.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.
Welcome to another Playbook. It's me, Jason. All right. I just jumped off a phone call with an agent, awesome agent, very large business, and he's crushing it. And we started diving into some of the issues that he was having. And one glaring thing happened, and it made me realize, like, we all need to go back to basics sometimes, and that's the numbers. And we all know this, but really knowing your numbers and having numbers attached to everything in the business is everything. It's the number one way to give yourself a raise. So when I first started in this agency, it was very difficult. I didn't know what I was trying to do as far as number wise. Nobody was really held accountable to anything. What we were trying to sell, it was very difficult to know what was going on. I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but like if you asked your sales agents, why didn't you sell today? It's bad leads. I couldn't get anybody on the phone. Well, we all know that you're not going to get that many people on the phone. I mean, that's a fact, right? And most leads are kind of bad. I mean, nobody gets a phone call or an email or something goes, oh, the insurance guy. Oh, I'm so glad. I can't wait to talk to him. Like the initial response is you're interrupting them, right? So they don't care. They don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with it until they go home and their wife yells at them. Why didn't you get the policy or whatever, right? Or they paid that really expensive bill a few times, or they tried to call in and make a change and they're pissed because whatever, right? Okay. So going back to the numbers thing, it was really difficult. You wouldn't get correct data. So you're basing all of your decision making off of false data, false information. But when you start putting numbers to things, like it could be on service or sales, but like, you know, how many calls does it take to get to someone? How many quotes does it take to make a sale? Like we got to know these things, because I need to know if John is quoting 4 people a day. I need to know how many quotes it takes him to sell. And I don't need to know how much he was able to sell months ago. I mean, I need to know what it's like now. I need to know how long a phone call conversation equates to a sale. What on average, how long on average is that? Because we want to make sure that we stay on the phone enough, or maybe we don't want to stay on the phone too long. You know, these are important things. We need to know how many times do we need to overcome objection? Where are the pain points in a conversation? So we need to be able to quantify that stuff and put numbers attached to it. Because why? We need to know, like, if we're investing in 100 leads a day and they're $5 a piece, dude, that's a lot. That's $500 a day. Like, we need to know, is that a good investment or not? You know, we think about this and we think, is it a good investment? Well, based on what? Like, well, Sally usually does this. Well, yeah, that's okay. But what is she doing now? What are you doing to optimize what she's doing now? So it's like, you know, with sales, you have how many calls they need to make a day. What's the talk time? How long do they need to talk on the phone to get the sales? That's a very key point, especially these days. You can't really build a relationship with somebody in a short period of time. How many calls does it take to get to the quote? How many quotes are they doing a day? So when you put all these numbers to people and they have some sort of scorecard, then you're taking the data points from the sales scorecard, from the leads metrics. You know, how many of those leads were contacted? Are you able to contact them? Are we switching out phone numbers? Like all the different data points from all the different teams, all the different lead sources, all the different activity points. And then we can start constructing a set of rules and numbers that need to be achieved daily to get a certain result. And then we don't have to guess on those things. And then when we look at the numbers, we can say, oh, their quotes are too short. They're not connecting with people. Like in my data set that I see every day, I know exactly what's going on the phone based on my data set. I know exactly if, let's say, John is not connecting on the phone call. Like I don't have to listen to phone calls that much anymore because I know based on activity where the issue is. It just becomes so much easier. Also with buying leads, it's the same thing. So when you're doing all this stuff, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what role it is in your agency or your business. Like you have to know where are all the most important data points, because I don't want to have long conversations with people about what they feel like they're doing or feel like they're not doing. Let's just have some hard numbers and then base our decisions on those numbers, because then it's like that doesn't come into feelings and stuff. It just is what it is. And it's not a good thing or bad thing. It's just now we know how to tweak stuff, right? And it just becomes a lot simpler doing this. So know your numbers. So going back to the beginning, you want to give yourself a raise, start attaching numbers to all activity, and then start talking about the expectations and watching that daily activity, tweaking the areas that need to be tweaked, and then just looking at that data set and always going off that. If you do that, and the more you can subdivide those data sets, the more you can get granular on it, the more you can make decisions, have a much, much higher impact on what you're doing. And I guarantee you, if you're doing that throughout all the different activity in your agency, you're going to see your numbers skyrocket. It's really the difference on having a well-oiled machine that's making a lot of money and something that's looser. Now, I'm not at all awesome at this. You know, it's like you dive in, you get everything set up and everything's running really good. And then you start letting off the gas a little. And then things go a little haywire, but you got to go back to basics at that point. Go back into the numbers, set the expectation, investigate. You have to investigate what people are doing. And that's it. That's about it. So look into it. Give yourself a raise. I guarantee you, by doing this, you will give yourself a raise. And that is my playbook for this week.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.